Now, did you know that an eggshell is mostly calcium carbonate? Ca is the calcium and the CO3 is the carbonate, which was very similar to bicarb soda, which had the Na being sodium and CO3 being the carbonate. The only difference being a bicarbonate, I think, is a double bond to the oxygen. Put 2 eggs and just cover them with vinegar, and I'll do that now. It covers the eggshells, and there's lots of those bubbles of carbon dioxide sitting on top of the water. You can see there's a scrape hole. So this is what was eggshell once upon a time. You can probably see that one before too long, it might be see-through. So calcium carbonate is the material which makes the stalactites and stalagmites in limestone caves. Now I'll just try and brush away some of this, see if it'll scrape away. It will too. Very clear, and you can probably just see a bit of the yolk. There's a bit more of the membrane there that you can see off an egg that I've opened for my eggs for breakfast this morning. It's a pretty amazing bit of architecture in itself because the eggshell is semi-porous. It will let through a little bit of air and moisture through because the growing chicken, which has to grow inside there, has to get some air and some moisture through to it. As it grows, of course, it needs some oxygen. But the membrane is a filtering system, and the egg white inside, which is called album, and the egg yolk is more proteins. Apparently here the membrane on the outside is a similar sort of protein than what's in human hair. Sometimes you see them really yellow, and that can depend on what the chook has been feeding on. If it's green, super good green grass, it will often come out super good yellow, or sometimes it's the breed of the chook which will give a particularly yellow yolk. When the moon gets in front of the sun, and then you get a glowing moon. And the membrane, not only does it help hold it all together, but it acts as a bit of a filter. Good scientist always keeps their eyes out for things, and there's a bit of the calcium carbonate as it dries off. So it's not often you see a bouncing egg. Quite stretchy in that direction, although it will tear once it makes a really pulling quite hard before it breaks. I might leave this little bit of membrane on the egg and let it dry out and see what it looks like when it's dried out. The egg, here where I put the membrane on, well, that's become quite brittle now. Now that it's dried out, it's become quite brittle, but it has stuck very incredibly well to the outside of the shell as well. This is almost like you would say is the shell, the calcium carbonate turned into powder. It's flaky powder, which I got off the top of that vinegar and let it dry out. They often put that into chook pellets so that chooks can have enough calcium carbonate in their diet so that they're able to form these eggshells.